In the future, God will make the world brand new. When we look at the world around us, we can see that there are things wrong with it. There are things that are hard and painful. There is sadness and death. When God first made the world, it wasn't like this. But when people disobeyed God and turned their backs on Him, everything changed and the world was spoiled. But God isn't going to leave the world like this forever. One day God will make the world perfect again. God showed John, one of Jesus' followers, a picture of what the new world would be like. This is what he saw. He saw a new heaven and a new earth. And he saw God's special city where His people will live, coming down out of heaven from God. It was like a beautiful bride dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Now God's presence is with His people. He will live with them and they will be His people. God Himself will be with them and will be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there'll be no more death, sadness, crying or pain, because the old order of ways are gone." God, on His throne, said, "Look, I am making everything new." Next, God showed John what God's special city, where His people will live, will be like. In the picture John saw, the city was shining with the glory of God, bright like a very expensive jewel. The city had great high walls with 12 gates, and the walls were built on 12 foundation stones. These represented all of God's people, everyone who believes in Jesus. The city was as long and high as it was wide, just like the most holy place in the Jewish temple. This was the special part of the temple where God was, that God's people aren't allowed into because of their sin. In the future, God's people won't be kept away from God because Jesus has taken their sin away. The city was made of pure gold, and the foundation stones were decorated with every kind of jewel. The 12 gates were 12 pearls, each gate made from a single pearl. And the street of the city was made of pure gold. All this showed how beautiful God will make His people and the new world they will live in, and how precious they are to Him. There was no temple in the city because God the Father and Jesus His Son were there with God's people. They won't need to go to a special place to be with God anymore. They will live in the light of God's glory forever. And there'll be no more darkness. Everything will be light and good because God will be there. The new creation probably won't look exactly like the picture John saw. We don't know exactly what it will be like, but the picture can help us to understand a bit about it. And we know that it will be amazing. God has promised that He will make everything new, and that everyone who belongs to Jesus will be there with Him forever. This story is from the Bible in Revelation chapter 21, verses 1 to 27.